Welcome to the SalesGame tutorials. Our focus in this tutorial is on conducting Stage 6 meetings to assure client enthusiasm. As you all know, the goal of the game is to have enthusiastic clients, so conducting Stage 6 or ACE meetings is an important part of the process. To get started, let's talk about what an ACE meeting is and what it is not. An ACE meeting is typically used first to say thank you, to tell the client you really appreciate the opportunity to work with them and you value them as a client. Second, it is a meeting in which you should listen and listen actively. What are you listening for? Well, an ACE meeting is to find out how the client is feeling, about the value you provide, your performance, how you might improve, and what they might be thinking about doing for the future. Now that you're refreshed on what the focus of an ACE meeting is, let's talk about what it is not. An ACE meeting is not a sales meeting. While the research shows that about 50% of the time an opportunity will arise out of these conversations, that should not be your goal in conducting an ACE meeting. Second, an ACE meeting is not a meeting to ask for referrals. Again, the client may open the door to that type of discussion, but that should not be something you are trying to achieve in this meeting. That is for another discussion. You want the client to truly feel that you are very genuine about sensing whether they're enthusiastic or not. So now that you have that intent in mind, let's talk about how to select clients for these types of conversations. Typical clients chosen for ACE meetings include, first of all, your key clients, those clients whom you believe are significant to your practice. This could be based on revenue, size, potential, or even influence. A second category to consider would be your new clients, significant new relationships where you want to use an ACE meeting to take the temperature of how you're doing at a significant milestone. A third category to consider would be what we call thoughtful clients. Because an ACE meeting provides you with feedback, you should consider conducting them with at least one or two of your clients that you absolutely know care about you, the firm, and your practice. There could be other selection criteria you consider based on what you would like to achieve, but using these three categories can provide for a good start. A key part of any meeting is setting it up well so that you have a productive outcome. That is true for ACE meetings as well. So let's talk about how we can set them up to be effective. First, we would definitely recommend that you call the client to set up the meeting. This person-to-person conversation allows you to explain your intent for the meeting and allows the client to hear how much you are genuinely interested in getting some feedback from them. You can also decide how formal or informal you would like the meeting to set a tone. It is not uncommon for these types of meetings to occur over coffee or breakfast or even lunch, something that's more of an informal setting than a quote normal client meeting. In addition, because you would like them to reflect on your relationship and share some meaningful feedback, it is a good idea to send some of your questions or areas of questioning in advance so that the client has time to give that some thought. Now note, just because we're asking them to do a lot of the sharing and that our role is to listen in these meetings doesn't mean that we shouldn't plan them. An ACE meeting requires the same type of planning as any other client or prospect meeting. You will want to do your own homework, including reviewing what you've done for the client, considering how you want the meeting to flow, what your opening is, how you will get into your questioning, the specific types of questions you would like to ask, and how you will close the meeting. Now, regarding questioning, ACE meetings do have specific categories of questioning, so let's take a minute to refresh on those. The first area of questioning is value. In this area, you will want to explore your client's perception of the value received from the relationship and the work. This is the area of questioning that ties back to the heart of the matter, the true source of value for the client. Throughout this part of the discussion, you'll want to connect back to that value that they hoped to receive and gain an understanding of whether you have actually provided that value from their point of view, and it's very important. Second, you want to explore performance. Here you will be confirming exactly how the client measures performance when working with professional advisors and how you, your team, and the firm stack up against those measurements. Third, you will explore improvement. You'll be asking questions such as how can we improve next year, or what would you like to see us do differently. Finally, you will want to discuss their future vision. What is on the horizon for them? What are some of their priorities for the coming year? The goal in this area is to gain insights about what they might be thinking about now and identify any potential changes that we might want to consider for the future time frame. By exploring these 4 areas thoughtfully, you should learn a lot about your relationship and be able to determine how enthusiastic your client is about the relationship. Now, we're not all perfect, so we do have to be prepared for problem resolution. Periodically, ACE meetings surface problems or issues of which we may not be aware. If anything of this nature arises, it's important to really listen and probe to identify the source of the concern or the root cause of the issue. It will likely require you to use the ground rule, showing empathy and peeling back the onion to truly understand what is happening and how we might address it. Remember, if the client brings up a problem or something that is an issue from their perspective, the last thing we want to do is to be defensive. We should seek to understand and collaboratively with the client identify a possible approach to resolution. Finally, after the ACE meeting, there are best practices for follow-up. First, it is appropriate to send some type of thank you. Most often, we see this done with a personal handwritten note thanking the client for the time and providing valuable feedback. It can also be accomplished with a letter, but a handwritten note can set you apart. Second, you will learn things throughout the meeting that are important to the future relationship. It is important that these things are memorialized in some way and noted for future action. A best practice is to summarize the issues or items raised by the client and send them in a more formal communication back to the client with notes on how they will be addressed in the future. Along with the communication to the client, this same type of communication is also typically shared internally with key members of the client service team. If you become highly effective in conducting ACE meetings, you can set yourself apart from most professional service providers, and as David Maister says, you will learn how to be a more effective competitor. Try it today and reap the rewards of an enthusiastic client. Thank you for viewing this SalesGame tutorial. For more detailed information on ACE meetings, please refer to the document called Conducting and Assuring Client Enthusiasm Meeting, excerpts from a half-day ACE workshop by Larry White.